Hello everyone, welcome to PMIS and welcome to the next topic. It is a new topic, that is 1.4. Under this, the human evolution and emergence of man. Okay, just a second to take a small size. Okay, I'll take a color in blue. Yes, okay. So human evolution and emergence of man. And under this topic, the first topic is the biological and cultural factors of human evolution. So why this is possible, that why human evolved and how, where, and why, what and where human evolved on the earth planet. So here Herbert Spencer suggests under the concept of Darwinian theory, and he suggested that the most important contribution, yes, of the anthropologist Herbert Spencer in the field of sociology and theory of evolution, and he utilized the principles of physical and biological evolution in order to elaborate and explain his theory of social evolution. So physical evolution along with its the social evolution go hand in hand. Okay, so we will understand the which Herbert Spencer said that in physical evolution a movement is from an indefinite incoherent situation to a definite and coherent situation, that is the life evolved from the indefinite situation to the definite situation, that is in the modern situation there is the definite and coherent situation, and in the past there is indefinite and incoherent situation. So you can remember. Okay, and besides this, the underlying principles of physical evolution are a movement from simple to complex and homogeneity to heterogeneity. Okay, and dissimilar to similar, or here we can understand the similar to dissimilar. Okay, and homogeneity to heterogeneity. Okay, so you can remember this order. Okay, about the evolution of human in the past. Okay, so first you can understand the indefinite to definite. Okay, and homogeneity to heterogeneity, and dissimilar to similar. Okay, so you can remember in biological evolution only those creatures survive in the struggle for existence. That was concept given by Charles Darwin. Okay, who are able to make effective adjustments with changing circumstances, and Herbert Spencer utilized these two principles, that is struggle for that is incoherent or indefinite to definite and homogeneity to heterogeneity. These are two principles, physical and biological evolution. Okay, these are two principles, that is physical and biological evolution, in order to explain social evolution. So the physical plus biological in physical term and in biological was used in earlier time, but now in anthropology the biological anthropology is converted into physical anthropology, and it is used in the modern time. Under physical evolution, Herbert Spencer writes, evolution is an integration of matter and concomitant dissipation of motion, that is, moving slowly and evolving through some important principles, during which the matter passes from an indefinite incoherent homogeneity to a definite coherent, and during which the definite coherent and heterogeneity, and during which the retained motion undergoes a parallel transformation. According to Lewis Coser, the very foundation of Spencerism is the evolutionary doctrine of the law of evolution. So, Lewis Coser repeat the theory of Herbert Spencer. In his first principle, he traced everything in the world back through causal chains to two fundamental factors. These are matter and motion, two aspects of force, matter and motion. Without matter, you cannot able to go with their of you cannot force them without matter, and you cannot force on matter. You cannot force matter without you cannot force your own without a matter and moving it into the motion. According to Spencer, the law of evolution is the supreme law of every becoming, and for Spencer, evolution pervaded the inorganic as well as organic realm. His voluminous work also treated superorganic evolution. So remember this keyword, superorganic evolution, which means we would term social evolution. Okay, superorganic evolution means the social evolution and evolution of superorganic products, that we call cultural evolution. So you can remember these two terms, super organic evolution under social evolution and evolution of superorganic products, that means the study of cultural evolution. Within the framework of universal evolution, Spencer developed his basic three laws and four secondary propositions, each building upon each and all upon the doctrine of evolution. Three basic laws. There are three basic laws. Law of persistence of force. That means some ultimate cause that transcends knowledge to from one individual to another individual, and law of indestructibility of matter. Okay, and the law of continuity of motion. So these are the three basic laws which were used by Herbert Spencer to define the physical as well as biological evolution. Force tends to persist. The first law is energy or force tends to persist. In the course of evolutionary change, there is no increase in energy or force. Energy or force is persistence. That is definite. It undergoes no change. Energy or force is the cause of evolution, but it is unaffected by the evolutionary process. That means these are the ordinary laws which are forced through these energy, and without energy or force the cause of evolution is not happen, but it is unaffected by the evolutionary process. Matter is indestructible. It is a second law. The second law is matter is indestructible. Matter as one form or aspect of energy is never destroyed. It may undergo formal changes. Okay, The changes in the form of matter are responsible for the evolutionary process, but the fundamental nature of matter never changes. So you can remember the basic elements of matter and energy in the world are neither created nor destroyed but conserved and continuity of motion. This is the third law of Herbert Spencer. The third law is in motion, that is motion is continuous and it is never wholly dissipated, that is it is never thoroughly or wholly or all dissipated or disappeared. There are, of course, the changes in the form of motion. An account of these changes, there are stages in the evolutionary process. There is perpetual continuity of motion in the world. All things continue in motion. And four secondary propositions. There are four secondary propositions. That is the persistence of the relationship between forces. That means the harmony of all laws, principle of formal changes and uniformity, and principle of least resistance and greater attraction, principle of gradual motion. So these are the four secondary propositions in terms of the forces. The Spencer has enumerated four secondary laws of evolution, that is the harmony of all laws. Okay, this is a first law of evolution which was given by Herbert Spencer, persistence of the relationship between the forces. Under this, according to Herbert Spencer, there must be harmony among the various laws of evolution. No two laws should contradict each other. Okay, there exists a uniformity or regularity of relationships among defined phenomena in the world. The world is an order or in order of elements. Principle of formal changes and uniformity, that is second law. Matter and motion is not completely destroyed. So you can remember this second law. The matter and motion is not completely destroyed. Okay, they are destroyed but live in some specific and unique situation. These undergo changes in form only. Of course, during formal change, the quantum of matter and motion remains static. They are merely transformed into the manifestation of some other event. So, this is the diagrammatically defined in under the physical evolution. Three basic laws and four secondary propositions or four secondary laws. Three secondary laws means the force tends to persist, the matter is indestructible, and motion is continuous. Under four secondary propositions or four secondary laws, the harmony of all laws, principle of formal changes and uniformity, principle of least resistance and greater attraction, and principle of gradual motion. Okay, the principle of least resistance or great attraction, this is the third secondary law. Under this, the direction of evolution is always towards the line of least resistance or greater attraction. All forces and elements move along the line of least resistance and greatest attraction. So you can remember. And fourth secondary law, the physical evolution, that means principle of gradual motion. For evolution, motion is essential, but it is not required that motion should be at one level at all time. It may speed up or slow down. Okay, all phenomena in nature have their own particular rate and rhythm of movement, of duration and development. So you can remember. And Spencer argued that the evolution of human species, far from being different from other evolutionary phenomena, it is a special case of a universally applicable natural law. It is axiomatic to Spencer that ultimately all aspects of the universe, whether organic or inorganic, social or non-social, are subject to the laws of evolution. All universal phenomena, inorganic, organic, superorganic, all universal phenomena, that is inorganic, organic, superorganic are subject to the natural law of evolution. And according to Spencer, all the phenomena of nature, like stars and planetary systems, this is a very interesting chapter, okay, that you can go through thoroughly through these PDF or these resource in the text. Okay, so you can read for the UPSC optional subject preparation as anthropology. Okay, so you can go through the description below and purchase this course. Okay, and you can write thoroughly about the anthropology optional. According to Spencer, all the phenomena of nature, the stars and planetary systems, the earth and all terrestrial phenomena, biological organisms and the development of species, all the psychological and sociological processes of human experience and behavior follow the definite pattern of change. And given the persistence of force, the indestructibility of the basic elements of material substance, the continuity of motion and the like, Spencer says, why were the changes of phenomena from homogeneous to heterogeneous? This is the basic question about why and where the human evolution evolved, and why were the changes of phenomena from heterogeneous to no homogeneous to heterogeneous and indefinite to definite. Why this possible? Why this was possible? From the relatively incoherent to the relatively coherent, from simple to complex, from the differentiated to the differentiation of specialized structure and functions. Okay, there are four important factors which he emphasized, that is instability of the homogeneous, the multifiction of effects, segregation, equilibrium, dissolution. Okay, so these are the five important factors which he emphasized, which the Herbert Spencer emphasized. The first factor is instability of the homogeneous. Under this, Spencer argued that the condition of homogeneity is in fact a condition of unstable equilibrium. That means stable to unstable situation. And second factor is the multifiction of effects. According to him, once differentiation and diversity begins, a cumulative rapidly of increasing diversity and differentiation is set in motion. And diversity feeds upon itself. It makes for increasing complexity. And third is segregation. Once differentiation occurs within the units of an aggregate, a tendency towards the specialization of parts will develop. Units which are alike will respond in a similar fashion, whereas units which are different will respond differently. A process of internal selection or segregation of specialized parts will be set afoot. Okay, and fourth factor is equilibrium. All phenomena, according to Spencer, are in a process of adjustment. Okay, and accommodation until a moving equilibrium is reached. And dissolution is the reverse process. It is the undoing of evolved forms. Every phenomenon must submit to the process of dissolution. The crux of Spencer's theory of physical evolution is that, according to Spencer, in the process of evolution, latent becomes manifest and indefinite passes towards the definiteness, and lastly homogeneous mass of matter becomes more and more differentiated. Okay, and under biological evolution, Spencer adopted his principle of evolution from naturalist Charles Darwin. Okay, so this concept was given by Charles Darwin under the survival of the fittest, and his book named the theory of organic evolution theory of organic evolution by which means that this book named was okay social Darwinism, no, origin of species. Yes, Darwin book named was origin of species. Spencer, the sociological giant of the second half of the 19th century, was enamored by social Darwinism, and Spencer believed in the doctrine of the survival of the fittest, as expounded by Darwin. According to Spencer, animals have to struggle to preserve their existence. Okay, this concept given by Charles Darwin, and struggle for the existence, that is survival of the fittest, is not confined to any one aspect of life but pervades the whole of life. Spencer says only strong creatures survive and evolve, only strong makes progress, okay, not weakest. So you will have to become strong if you become a success in your life. According to Darwin, the weak are gradually eliminated and strong creature is one who has the ability to adjust himself with the ever changing conditions of the environment. That is under the concept of genetic load. You can understand through this example. Under genetic load, there is lots of problem that you can see this example, that is lots of seeds in the small field. Okay, lots of seeds in the small fields, and many number of deers in a small geographical area. That means that genetic load is more when the survival of the individuals is also very less, and the weaker individuals have to sacrifice himself for the growth of strong ones. Okay, so this is the example. And social evolution, we can see here, you can see here that social evolution from the analysis of physical evolution, Spencer convinced that the underlying principles of all evolution are two: movement from simple to complex and movement from homogeneous to heterogeneous. Okay, so this concept was given by Charles Darwin and used by Herbert Spencer to define the physical evolution as well as biological evolution. From the analysis of biological evolution, Spencer utilized the principle that those creatures survive in the struggle for existence who are able to make effective adjustments with changing circumstances. So, Spencer utilized both physical and biological evolution for his theory of social evolution. Like physical evolution, also in social evolution, there is a movement from simple to complex. Okay, the society is moving from homogeneous to heterogeneous structure. Society is also moving from indefinite to definite stages or structure. The Spencer has borrowed the idea from biological evolution that those cultures survive which are able to adjust themselves with the changing circumstances. And if a civilization is unable to make adjustment with the changing circumstances, it caves in and gradually becomes extinct because they are very weak. And Spencer's theory of social evolution points out to two stages: the movement from simple to compound societies, that is simple to complex societies, and change from militant society to industrial society. Okay, so these are the very crucial, that concept was these concepts were given by Charles Darwin and used by the Herbert Spencer's theory of social evolution. And the movement from simple to complex societies. This is seen in four types of societies. First society is simple society, that is primitive society. Spencer defined the simple society as one which forms a single working whole, unsubjected to any other, and of which the parts cooperate with or without a regulating center for certain public ends. These societies were predominantly small, nomadic, and lacking in stable relationship structure. That is, in band society, there is up to 50 individuals living in one band. Okay, and in large kingdom there are more number of tribes. There are more number of tribes living there. Okay. Yes, these societies were predominantly small, nomadic, lacking of stable relationship structure. They had low degrees of differentiation, specialization, and integration because they are primitive and mostly hunter and gatherers. Examples are the Eskimos, Fujians, Guyana tribes, New Caledonians, and the Pueblo Indians. Compound societies. Under compound societies, they were presented as having generally come about through either a peaceful or a violent merger of two or more simple societies. They tended to be predominantly settled agricultural societies, although a majority are mainly pastoral and tended to be characterized by a division of four or five social strata and an organized priestly group. They are also characterized by industrial structures that show in advancing division of labor, general and local. Examples are the Teutonic peoples in the 5th century, Homeric Greeks, New Zealanders, Hottentots, the Homans, and Asantis of North Asantis of Western Africa, and doubly compound societies. These are the completely settled, were more integrated, and had a larger and more definite political structure, a religious hierarchy, a more or less rigid caste system, and more complex division of labor. So, you can understand this is the developed society. Okay, because very complex situation and religious hierarchy, political structure, a more or less caste system available existing in these societies. Furthermore, in such societies, to a greater and lesser extent, custom has passed into positive law, and religious observances have grown definite, rigid, and complex. Towns and roads have become general. Towns and roads have become general, and considerable progress in knowledge and the arts has taken place. Examples are 13th century France, 11th century England, the Spartan Confederacy, the ancient Peruvians and Guatemalans. Trebly compound societies. These societies include the great civilized nations such as the Assyrian Empire, the modern Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Russia. Spencer does not outline their traits in detail but points to their increased overall size, complexity, division of labor, popular density, integration, and general cultural complexity. Okay, and criticism of these criticism of Herbert Spencer's theory of social and physical evolution. According to some social thinkers, Herbert Spencer's theory lacks practicability. Okay, practicability. It is not practical and realistic. It was observable. Even today, there are several tribes and aboriginals that do not show any sign of evolution, and it also lacks uniformity because it is not possible to have a uniform pattern of social evolution in all societies. Okay, and because the factors and circumstances responsible for evolution differ from one another. And third is, mere survival for existence is not enough for man because man was hunter gatherer in initial and the industrial societies in today. And in human society, qualities like sympathy, sacrifice, kindness, love, etc. are also present. They are quite different from the struggle for existence. In spite of the above criticisms made by some of the social thinkers, Herbert Spencer's theory of social evolution is a master key to the riddles of the universe. Okay, so remember this, the theory of Herbert Spencer about social as well as physical evolution of humans. Theories of organic evolution. This is the pre-Darwinian, Darwinian, and post-Darwinian. Under pre-Darwinian, the theory was given by Lamarck. Okay, theory was given by Lamarck. What is evolution? Under the evolution, in the context of biology, it is it refers to the gradual change in species and populations of organisms over time and space. This concept is often associated with Charles Darwin, a British naturalist who played a significant Charles Darwin was a British naturalist who played a significant role in shaping our understanding of evolution. And during the 1950s, Darwin published a groundbreaking book titled On the Origin of Species, which put forth the idea that species evolve through a process called descent with modification. So remember this, the descent with modification is very important critical concept which was given by Charles Darwin. This implies that all living organisms share a common ancestry and have evolved over time to form the diverse range of species we observe today. And this is the evolutionary theory of physical evolution or evolution of man from apes or orangutan and Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens, and next will be the modern man. The primary mechanism that Darwin proposed for evolution is natural selection. Okay, Darwin first proposed the theory of natural selection. This process involves the preferential survival and reproduction of organisms possessing heritable traits that enable them to better adapt to their environment. As a result, these advantageous traits become more prevalent in the population over time, leading to evolutionary change. Darwin's ideas on evolution were shaped by his extensive travels aboard the HMS Beagle, during which he observed a wide variety of species and ecosystems. These observations helped him develop his theory of evolution by natural selection. To better understand how evolution through natural selection works, consider the following example. In a population of birds, some individuals have longer beaks than others. Okay, if longer beaks are advantageous for accessing food resources, birds with longer beaks are more likely to survive and reproduce. That we will understand these beaks of birds in the finches of Darwin in the next section. Okay. Over time, this selective pressure will lead to an increase in the prevalence of long-beaked birds in the population, resulting in evolutionary change. The concept of evolution refers to the gradual change in species and populations over time, primarily driven by the process of natural selection. And Charles Darwin's work on the subject has had a lasting impact on our understanding of the natural world and the diverse range of the species that inhabit it. Okay, so remember this, that the long beaked, when how many kinds of beaks will be present on the region according to the regional criteria or according to the environmental situation that birds where are living. Okay, and this is the Lamarckism theory. Under the pre-Darwinian theory, the first theory of organic evolution was postulated by a French biologist. Lamarck was French biologist Jean Baptiste Lamarck in 1809, which is popularly known as Lamarckism. And Lamarckism is also described under the name of inheritance of acquired characters. Okay, so remember this, inheritance of acquired characters, concept given by Lamarck. And facts of Lamarckism. Lamarckism is based upon following important facts. First fact is the tendency to grow or tendency to grow. The internal forces of an organism cause an increase in the size of parts of an organism. The new structures appear because of an inner want of the organism. The internal forces of life tend to continuously increase the size of an organism and its component parts. This increase in size is up to a certain limit, which is determined by the life itself. Environmental effects. The environment in which the organisms live influences them, and this influence leads to change in their habits. Okay, organisms influences them, and this influence leads to change in their habits. Then the organisms of an animal became modified in appropriate fashion in direct response to a changing environment. This results in the formation of new organs, use and disuse of organs. According to Lamarckism, the efficiency and development of an organ is directly proportional to its use and disuse. The more continuously used organs become more developed and enlarged, while unused ones gradually weaken and finally disappear. You can remember here that if your body part, any organ can use daily, your organ should definitely will improve. And if you are not use your organ, any organ, that this organ will be damaged in the next life of the individual. Okay, or in some days or some years or in some generations can be could be disappeared. Okay, inheritance of acquired character. Under this, according to Lamarck, the organisms gain some characteristics during their lifespan from the surroundings and the changes in the surroundings. In a long course of time, organisms become entirely different from their ancestors with new characters acquired from the pre-existing organisms. So this is the fourth postulate theory of Lamarckism. And examples of Lamarckism: formation of web toes in water birds. Under this example, the present water birds and ancestors were the terrestrial birds or land birds. Some of them could not find food in sufficient amounts on the land and migrated into water in the search of food and security. The spread of the spread They spread their toes while moving in water. The skin extended between the toes and formed webs for swimming. Hence, the present water birds are accompanied with the webbed toes. This illustrates the law formation of new organs or environmental effects. Okay. And next example is formation of long-necked and legged giraffes. The horse-like short-necked giraffes were the ancestors of the present long-necked and legged giraffes. They used to graze on the ground, but during a certain course of time, they became scared of the grass on which they feed. Due to this, they had to depend on the foliage of the trees. As the trees were high and big, they continuously had to stretch their neck and legs while eating. Due to continuous use of necks and legs for stretching, their neck and legs gradually became long and strong. Okay, and in a long course of evolution, the present giraffe with long neck and legs have evolved. This illustrates the law, use and disuse of organs and inheritance of acquired characters. So under this, an individual when an individual for the survival of the fittest, they stretch their neck to eat the leaves of long tree, okay, or tall trees. Then they use their neck and stretch of their neck to capture the leaves of the trees. Okay, so this can be increased or stretched in some days, okay, and in some generations, not some days but in some generations. And which individuals which individuals cannot increase their neck, they can be extinct, okay, because they are weaker than those that can stretch their necks. And next example is loss of limbs of snakes. The ancestors of the present limbless snakes with limbs, in the course of time, those snakes had to live in bushes and burrows, and during which their body became elongated as they had to pass through them. For passing through the narrow spaces, their limbs were not used continuously, and finally limbs disappeared by continuous disuse. Thus, present snakes are limbless unlike other reptiles. This illustrates the law, use and disuse of organs. Next is the objection to Lamarckism. These are the objections or criticism of Lamarckism. Our eyes are continuously used for watching, and as told by the law, use and disuse of organs, it should be developed. But the eyes become weaker as we grow older. The organs in the organisms which are useless in the initial stages of life do not vestige but develop later on in the body and become functional. The characters acquired by the organisms from the surroundings are not found to be heritable. Only those characters affecting germ cells are found to be heritable, and mutilations are not inherited from parents to offspring. Only the formation and development of organs due to environmental effects have been explained, but not their roles in the incipient stage. Okay, and Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin gave the concept of natural selection. Under natural selection, the first postulate is the heritability of traits. One of the essential components of Darwin's theory of evolution through natural selection is the idea that traits are often heritable. In other words, many characteristics in living organisms are inherited from their parents and passed on to their offspring. And although Darwin was unaware of the existence of genes which carry the information from these inherited traits, his observation still holds true in modern genetics. Okay, and this is the inheritability of the traits. Here you can see here there are blue mormon, okay, and these are the parents pass on heritable traits to their offsprings, okay. So they are mating, and if the environment change, the parents change their heritable traits to their offsprings, okay, and next season their offspring will change into their color as red, okay. So remember this. And next postulate of Charles Darwin is overproduction of offspring. Another crucial observation made by Darwin was that organisms have the ability to produce more offspring than their environments can support, and due to limited resources such as food, shelter, and mates, not all offspring can survive to adulthood and reproduce. This overproduction of offspring leads to competition within each generation as individuals strive to secure the necessary resources for their survival and reproduction. Limited resources. This is the cause of condition for changing of their color because of lack of food, lack of habitat, lack of meats, okay. And not all individuals will survive and reproduce, but they are die, okay. And third postulate is variation in offspring traits. In addition to overproduction of offspring, Darwin also observed that offspring within a generation display variations in their traits such as size, shape, and color. Many of these variations are heritable, meaning that they can be passed down from parent to their offspring. These slight differences in traits can have a significant impact on an individual's ability to survive and reproduce in its environments. Okay, so you can see here these are the offsprings, okay, and these are the parents, okay. So change their situation, change their color in different environment. Survival and reproduction of the fittest, or survival of the fittest according to Charles Darwin. Based on the above observations, Darwin proposed the concept of natural selection as a mechanism for evolution. In this process, individuals with heritable traits that provide them with a better chance of surviving and reproducing in their environment will be more likely to pass on these advantageous traits to their offspring. Over time, these beneficial traits will become more common in the population, leading to the evolution of a species and its adaptation to its environment. Darwin's theory of evolution through natural selection is based on the key observations of heritability of traits, overproduction of offspring, variation in offspring traits, and the survival and reproduction of the fittest individuals. This elegant and logical theory explains how species can evolve and adapt to their environments over time. Based on these simple observations, Darwin concluded the following. Darwin deduced from his observations that with a population, certain individuals possess inherited traits that enhance their ability to survive and reproduce in their specific environment. These advantageous traits, such as effective predation or food source utilization, enable these individuals to produce more offspring compared to the other in their population. Since these beneficial traits are inheritable and organisms with these traits have higher reproductive success, these traits will become more prevalent in the population over successive generations. As a result, the population gradually becomes better adapted to its environment, as individuals with favorable traits consistently outperform their peers in terms of survival and reproduction. Darwin's concept of evolution through natural selection provided a framework for understanding the patterns he observed during his travels, such as the similarities and differences among Galapagos finch species. So, this is the example of Charles Darwin's finches of Latin America and Galapagos Island in Eastern Pacific. Okay. For example, if these finches species share a common ancestor, it would be expected that they would exhibit some resemblance to one another and to maintain mainland finches who likely also share that common ancestor. However, if groups of finches had been isolated on various islands for many generations, they would have experienced unique environmental conditions that favored different habitable traits such as diverse beak sizes and shapes for accessing source distinct food sources. This process could have led to the development of separate species on each island. Okay, and you can conclude the Darwin's survival of the fittest. The concept of evolution, which was given by Charles Darwin, refers to the gradual change in species and populations of organisms over time, primarily driven by the process of natural selection. Charles Darwin's work, especially his book on the origin of species, played a significant role in shaping our understanding of evolution. His theory of evolution through natural selection is based on the key observations of heritability of traits, overproduction of offspring, variation in offspring traits, and survival and reproduction of the fittest individuals. Darwin's ideas have had a lasting impact on our understanding of the natural world and the diverse range of species that inhabit it. Okay, and you can see here the mutation theory of evolution, that is post-Darwin theory. Post-Darwinism, that is synthetic theory of evolution, is also called as mutation theory of evolution. Under this, why what you can introduce in your answer when the theory of when synthetic theory of evolution will come. Okay, Hugo de Vries, this is the scientist, biologist, a prominent Dutch botanist, contributed significantly to the field of evolutionary biology by presenting his ideas on the formation of new species in 1901. Hugo de Vries was one of the scientists who independently rediscovered Mendelism, and his work addressed some of the criticisms found in Darwin's theory of evolution. De Vries proposed that new species are not formed through gradual continuous changes, but rather through sudden distinct variations, which he termed as mutations. He further explained that these mutations are inheritable traits that are passed down through successive generations, leading to the formation of new species. Okay, so these are the species, that is small, medium, as well as tall, and experiments conducted by Hugo de Vries. Hugo de Vries conducted experiments on a plant called Oenothera lamarckiana, or evening primrose, and discovered several unusual types. When these plants were self-pollinated and their seeds allowed to grow, the majority of the resulting generation 1 plants resembled the parent plants, but some were different. Okay, when these different plants were self-pollinated and their seeds sown, most offspring were similar to the parents, but a few were even more distinct, and this pattern continued across generations. So we will understand the examples related to this concept. Okay, F1 generation to F2 generation through parents to male, offsprings. Okay, yes. And De Vries argued that mutations rather than minor heritable variations as proposed by Darwin drive evolution. Mutations are random and directionless. Mutations are random and directionless while Darwin's variations are small and directional. So it was wrong concept given by Darwin's that mutation are directional, but it is not the directional. Okay, according to Darwin, evolution is a gradual process, but De Vries believed that large single step mutations or saltations cause the formation of new species. Okay, and salient features of the mutation theory. Hugo de Vries 1901 proposed the mutation theory as an explanation for the process of evolution. According to this theory, evolution occurs in a discontinuous manner through mutations, which serve as the foundation for evolutionary change. The main aspects of the mutation theory are as follows. The driving force behind evolution is mutation, which are abrupt and discontinuous variations in organisms. Mutations occur suddenly and have an immediate effect on the organism. Okay, so this is a very harmful as well as the beneficial for individual. And contrary to Darwin's continuous variations, mutations do not center around the average or typical characteristics of species. And identical mutations can manifest in multiple individuals belonging to the same species. All mutations can be passed down through generations. Mutations can arise in various directions, providing diverse possibilities for evolutionary change. Nature selects beneficial mutations while lethal mutations are eliminated. However, neutral or mildly detrimental mutations may persist in offspring. The accumulation of variations can lead to the formation of new species, and in some cases, a single mutation can result in the creation of a new species. Evolution, as per the mutation theory, is an irregular and discontinuous process. So these are the some criticism related to or the mutation theory features. Okay, not yes, yeah, it is a features of mutation theory, but criticism is here. Okay, conducted by Hugo de Vries. Okay, and why how you can conclude this is this answer. In conclusion, Hugo de Vries made significant contributions to the field of evolutionary biology by proposing the mutation theory, which serves as an alternative explanation to Darwin's theory of evolution. According to Hugo de Vries, new species are formed through sudden inheritable mutations rather than gradual continuous changes. His experiments on the evening primrose plant provided evidence for his mutation theory and suggested that evolution is an irregular and discontinuous process, not continuous. Okay, while both Darwin's and Hugo de Vries theories have their merits, and it is important to acknowledge the role of mutations in shaping the course of evolution and the formation of new species. So these are the two fundamental principles which we have been discussed. Okay, that is the biological and cultural factors of human evolution, and next is the theory of organisms, theory of organic evolution, that is pre-darwinism, pre-darwinian, darwinian and post-darwinian. And next theory is the synthetic theory of evolution, that is mutation theory. Okay, also known as post-darwinian theory, and we will understand in the next class for this theory related to the synthetic theory of evolution, because it is a this is a very important and it is very crucial. Every year every 5 year, not every year, but every 5 year, UPSC asked questions related to synthetic theory of evolution, or this chapter is very important, which the UPSC asked more questions related to this chapter in the past. Okay, so remember this. We will understand what is synthetic theory of evolution and why this was postulated by the modern anthropologists or modern scientists. Okay, so subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon, like, share as well as comment of this video. Okay, so if you want this PDF or this course, then you can purchase, and purchasing system given in the description below. Okay, so you can purchase, and because I have designed this course very seriously. Okay, so this is a very important for your preparation. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.